You know what I mean? Strength that doesn't scream but leaves an impression. There is a certain kind of unwavering quietness that can convey a great deal without the need for words. You've given it your all, haven't you? You've bent over backwards. One should prioritize others over personal goals for the sake of success. They see how valuable you are. You tried your hardest to help them, hoping they'd get it. Being on call and ready to drop shows you care. You have consistently shown that you can handle any situation. You've given so much without asking for anything in return. You've never said no. Kindness like a never-ending stream, hoping that one day they'll see that they've cared. They seem to care, but what did you get in return? They treated you like. They gave every bit of care to you, and ease was just a detail. I offered every act of kindness and threw it away without a second thought. They talked trash about your love and loyalty, as if they were duties instead of treasures you tried to protect. Anything to close that gap, like talking it out, making sense of it, and maybe even asking for even a little recognition. But each time you tried, it made you feel like your worth was becoming less clear. They were blind, careless, or too comfortable to see what was going on. I kept giving, but it seemed to make you disappear even more. They didn't seem to notice you anymore, and your heart was beating harder. The harder you tried, the less important you seemed. And eventually you realized that nothing was important. You could only use your strongest card to alter the situation. Because you didn't want the noise to fill the room, you decided to fade away. You'll be a part of their world. No more late-night texts, calls, or texts. Little signs that you were there waiting, hoping it looks like you disappeared. They left nothing but silence behind, and that quiet is even louder. Powerful than anything you could have said. They must adjust to a world without you, where the constant, given the absence of the warmth they once experienced, they may attempt to behave normally. Put on that brave, indifferent face in public as if nothing has changed. But on the inside, that quiet is breaking them apart with every empty moment. A notice without your name on it helps them remember what they threw away behind closed doors. They may even feel the desire to fill the hole you left behind. They want to cry, but their pride prevents them from doing so. They play those moments over and over again, remembering the times they took you for granted and seeing each memory in a new way, light now that it's too late. In public, they may appear happy, but in private, they're not. They had lost their silence, power, and way, leaving them crushed in the darkness. Of taking back control, so please take a moment to say this with me. Silence is my declare, with conviction that silence is not a weakness but rather a strength. Trust me, they will hear your strength more clearly than anything else you say. Epictetus, a renowned scholar, once said, "First, say to yourself what it's not about those things or what should be done now. You need to step into your own strength, so go ahead and say it. Own it." My gift is quiet. Stay with me here because this is just the beginning. I'll show you how strong silence can be and how it can change things. Turn the tables and make them face how empty they feel without you there. We'll talk about this silent journey and how it transforms everything. It reveals a gap they were unaware of and prompts them to question what they've been overlooking. Let's talk about something before we go too far into their story. This may be causing you distress at the moment. I know you love them, and you probably still do. In a way, even though they hurt you and treated you like a habit they could break. Because of that, you may feel hesitant to let go of love. What if they don't notice my silence? What if they just move on? You're probably nodding your head. You feel as though someone is tearing you apart with the fear of forgetting or brushing you aside. On the other hand, I can promise you that they're not going anywhere. You might see them putting on that mask and putting on a show like they don't seem to mind your silence. It's like they're fine without you. What's going on behind that mask? They can feel a storm coming. More than they'll ever admit, even if they act like they don't care. This silence has hit them hard. If they fail to recognize your value in the silence, then your words may have been ineffective. Don't feel the loss, as they never truly cared for you. Do you really want someone who others frequently overlook them, so they need constant reminders of their value? This quiet isn't just a momentary pause before they lose it. This is a trial to determine whether they can recognize your value. It's our moment of truth. Remind yourself that clarity still holds significant value. Therefore, maintain your composure and allow them to sense your power. I'm sure they can feel this loss already. If they can't, that's fine. If they do, they will realize the depth of your concern for them. Please click the like button if you haven't already. This trip is important because it's about asserting yourself, not just being quiet. If you are interested in learning more about your own worth, let's proceed. The part they'll feel the most about is realizing that you're gone for good. Your loss begins to affect them now. It dawns on them at this point. You're not there anymore, so they can't reach you. Maybe they're just pretending like nothing's wrong. They've changed, but deep down they can feel the old warmth leaving. Impossible to reach. This is where most of us would go wrong. We'd think that pang. When doubt started to creep in, we'd feel sorry for them and think, maybe I should check in, just let them know I'm here, and then we'll break the quiet and undo the. We cannot underestimate the power of our absence. Silence is about feeling empty as they contemplated their own mistakes. It's not about keeping them safe in your company. Every time you break the silence, you give them back. There's no time to check in and surrender your hard-earned power. Let them know you're still there. This is about giving them room to really understand what they went through to feel the full weight of it fall off. Some of us also fall into this trap. We think our job is to just sit around. Despite us waiting and checking our phones, no one noticed us. Silence is about channeling your energy into something else, into them and back into yourself. You're not stopping your life. You're going forward. Consider it a transformation as you grow stronger and improve yourself. This is your chance to become someone who doesn't just wait around, actively shapes their own future. If they love and care about you, this time away will be meaningful. Shaking them will show them your value in new ways. If you put a seed in the quiet, that seed will either grow or die. If they care, they'll feel the pull, the pain, and the need to reach back. If they don't, let this silence reveal the truth to you. As soon as possible, avoid someone who doesn't value you. Seneca once said that if you want a real friend, you should stay away from them. Who wouldn't be sad to lose you? That's the power of silence. It reveals who you are. If someone really cares about you and you don't, they're either sad about your loss or regardless of the outcome. Identifying worthy candidates wins. Love, picture yourself standing tall and not looking at anything. Back, you're building a life based on power and growth, not on the interest or approval of someone else, and as you go on, the right people. Your loved ones will find a way to catch you if they value you. If they don't, you'll know that leaving was the right thing to do. I could have made, so here's a promise for this part of the journey I picked. I told them to pay attention to me, as my quietness is my strength. Say it out loud or write it down, note it down, and remember that this is just the beginning. I'm not sure if they care about you or if they'll ever understand what they've lost. We're not interested in that. This silence is just the beginning. Discovering the truth will reveal the answers in due time. Hold on tight. You're about to see the real power of silence, and every step you take is a step toward clarity. If they look alike, it's a show, but we'll explain. This trip has much more to come, so stay with me. Okay, let's keep going. You chose silence, and now the waves are beginning to rise. However, this is the point at which things can potentially go wrong. Get clever with the mask of indifference. This is the part that throws a lot of us off. That's when they act like everything is fine and nothing has changed, as if your absence is just a bug. On any other day, you might catch them on social media laughing together. Friends may even act like they're doing better than ever. They'll look calm, like they don't care that your quiet is just background noise, but that mask of their indifference is a facade to mask their true feelings. Individuals who discover they're not the focal point of their world often experience a diminished sense of control. They are using defenses to make it look like your absence doesn't matter. They like to compare it to a game of poker, where they keep their cards close. Showing no fear enables you to be the first to reach out. They may appear careless, but their carelessness hides their true nature. They are telling you the truth about how they really feel. People often fall into this trap because they appear so unmoved. It makes us question everything. We start to think, maybe I should check in. I was wrong. Perhaps they're okay without me after all. But here's the truth. They don't care about me. The game requires people to act first when they feel powerless. They claim intelligence but act like they don't need your help. Epictetus once said that situations don't make a man, they show you who he is. Because of your quiet, they are hiding something they don't want to face, so they don't deal with it. They wear this indifference mask to get your attention and reach out. Think of safety and command as a shield they are raising to block their own path. They're hoping and praying that you'll be the one to break it first. At this point, you must stand firm, because giving in means reaching out to see if they're okay. That's great. You gave them exactly what they wanted. It's like giving them back control. You gave up your power. Despite their resistance, your silence is destroying them. That's all you have to do to make it work. If you surrender, you will eventually return. They've reverted to their initial state, fully aware that they possess you. Their lack of interest is just. They're hiding behind a weak wall, hoping you won't notice the cracks appearing. They may not realize it, but your absence is slowly weighing on them. Still, they can sense the void you left behind. It's beginning to take root. They are slowly but surely realizing that filling that gap isn't the answer. They could just act like they don't care while they're in a quiet panic, hoping you won't notice how weak they are or how uncomfortable they are getting. It's a quiet battle, but one that's getting stronger every day you keep quiet. And this is where the real test for you starts. Silence sometimes seems like waiting, but that's only half the story. This is when silence has the most power. True meaning comes from working to improve yourself and your life, rather than just watching. You can't take your eyes off your phone wondering when they'll finally realize what they've missed. If you work on yourself every day, you'll see progress in your life. Every day you get stronger. And if they love you, they'll notice that. This silence will bring out those thoughts. The power you show by staying quiet through growth instead of despite their reluctance, they'll feel the need to wait. It will start to feel heavy if you don't understand it right away. As it feels like an old, ill-fitting outfit, it will get harder to pretend they don't care. Your silence makes me miss you, so I want to reconnect. It will become a force they can't ignore. But what if they don't care? What if the mask doesn't matter? If they have nothing else, their silence reveals who they are. If they can continue without your interference, then it's okay. Now that truth is more valuable than any fake comfort, because the last thing you spend your time and love on someone who won't value you, unless Marcus Aurelius said, it is not events that. When you annoy someone, it's important to consider their opinions. If you don't, if you're not present, accept that decision and use it as a starting point to move forward. Someone doesn't think much of you, so here's a reminder to stay focused. You should allow their display of indifference to remain unchanged. Don't let it hold you back. Now is the time to build, grow, and shape. If someone misses you, they'll come back at their own pace. Live a life that doesn't depend on other people's attention. If they don't, they've made room in your life, or find someone who truly values you and tell yourself, their lack of interest in me doesn't shake me. I'm getting stronger and more valuable. Say it out loud, write it down, and make it yours. When doubt comes up, tell yourself that you're getting better. We are growing stronger every day, and let's stay in touch as we progress. There are more layers to come, and this mask of indifference won't work. It won't be long before the truth comes out in ways they can't ignore. There's a lot more to it than that. Discover that we're just beginning. We are now progressing to a more advanced phase of the task. They initially tried to hide and ignore their feelings, but now your quiet hits their ears hard like a wave they can't escape. You begin to sense the void you've left behind, and guilt begins to creep in. They are unable to dispel the cloud. It's no longer about pretending they don't care. Understanding that they might have made a mistake and cannot undo it is crucial. Imagine them going over every experience and every chance they had to enjoy life. Every time they dismiss you, It's as if they're ignoring you. It's like looking over a cliff. These decisions keep them up at night when they consider what they took for granted. They feel terrible when they discover that every careless action they take has consequences. Your mistreatment cost them more than they thought, as the philosophy states. Seneca said that every new start comes at the end of an old one, right? As their time with you comes to an end, they experience a sense of closure. They're hurting because they've lost something real, but they won't express it out loud or tell anyone. Feelings of sorrow don't come out in the open. Instead, they creep in like a shadow. You're following them everywhere they go, and the longer you don't say anything, the stronger they are. That's not because they miss you. It's because they know they lost something important and irreplaceable, and most people now do the same thing. When they get to this point, they'll try to ignore their regrets and keep up there. They may seem indifferent, but they are deeply concerned about their actions and are considering every option. They had an opportunity to treat you better, to keep you close, and to value you and each other. It stings to recall, as they grapple with pride, guilt, and truth. They've lost control, and it hurts more than they anticipated. Now is the time to feel sorry for them and reach out to show you understand. Make their day. Remember that this is their journey, and they deserve this pain. Stepping in makes them feel empty and makes them realize what they've lost. Having positive goals will only make them what they are. It's okay to feel sorrow, and people need to sit with it sometimes. Feel the full weight of their loss. So take a moment, take a deep breath, and hold on to this thought. I am worth more than their regret. I choose myself over them. Declare emphatically that you're not here to cause hurt to anyone's feelings. Save them from the effects of what they did. Their shame is theirs to bear, and your power is yours to use. Remember to stay with me on this road, because we're only halfway there. It's powerful, but it's just the beginning of what they'll experience on their journey. Stop here, and as their sorrow intensifies, more unavoidable truths force them to face. Hold on tight, because there's a lot more to come, and the trip is far from over. Thank you for staying here. If these words have touched you, please take a moment to let me know. Have you decided to remain silent at this point in your journey? Do you continue to persevere despite your doubts? Leave a "keep it up" in the comments if you do. To keep going, remember that this path is about your growth as well as theirs, what they've lost. Stay tuned for the next step. Reconciling with masks and replacements and understanding how they fill your void is more complicated. Let's keep going. All right, let's keep going deeper into this journey. So now they feel the weight of sorrow, but they don't want to face it. They might take a shortcut instead of sitting through that pain. And so what do? They begin searching for a new candidate to fill the position. There's a gap you left to fill with a quick fix. This step can be hard, or if they're showing it off and making it look like they've moved on without any problems, as if you were. This is merely an additional set of pages for them to read, but we will not proceed further. Getting away from something is like putting a patch on a deep wound. They're not healing. Instead, they're trying to hide it by making new connections in the hopes that a new one will ease the pain. They want to be distracted. They're looking for something that will help them forget, but that's all it is. Though they want to be with someone else, they know it won't compare to your time. This person has a mask they're wearing to hide how they really feel. They won't fill the void you left if they stay busy and move around. Catch them. This attempt to replace you is more a coping mechanism than a personal relationship. Trying to tell themselves, and maybe even you, that everything is okay and that I'm glad they're moving on, but real relationships are challenging to leave. It's not about meeting someone new to make up for something we've lost. When we desire something significant, our initial response is frequently to seek out something else. Taking up space without making us change in order to grow is like if you place a puzzle piece that doesn't match, it may appear fine from a distance. However, they can sense the hidden emptiness up close. They may go out more. They tweet about their new friends and connections, as if they're living their best lives. But remember that this isn't about you. It's about them not being able to deal with their own fears. They're hiding behind this show, trying to convince themselves that they're over you, but it's just a facade. A show, or the greater truth, cannot replace real things. They're doing a brief act to protect themselves from the pain of sorrow, but on the inside, they're seeing this might make you start to feel better about the sadness that new people and short-term distractions can't fill. If they can replace you easily, you may question your worth and whether you matter. But understand that this isn't a picture of you. It's a picture of their fear. It's because they're afraid of the hole you left behind, the silence. So instead of when they face it, they look for someone new, hoping that person can fill the spot that you used to hold. This one belongs to me and is untouchable. Repeat it or changed. Say it with confidence every time doubt starts to creep in. The purpose of your journey is to uncover the truth, and their current actions indicate a lack of readiness to confront it. Some people would rather not deal with their real loss and hide their pain with a short-term fix. After someone new in the hopes that the sadness will go away, but it never really does. And if they don't make this choice on their own, you'll know deep down they were never really able to value you fully. So you hold on. You tell yourself that assurance every time they do something bad. Valuable if they're running to someone new as a way to deal with things. They use distractions because they cannot hide the truth of a real relationship. Every time they attempt to fill the void with someone else, they recall what happened. They lost. If they cover a wound that won't heal, they can't look away. The philosopher Alan de Bone once said, "It will hurt them to be empty." To put it another way, people are only really interesting when they struggle to break free from their own ignorance's chains. They're staying inside it because they want a new face to take their mind off of the truth. They're trying to avoid the pain. They won't appreciate what they lost, and as a result, they won't value their journey, not yours. And now we're moving on to a new step. Unraveling. This is when things start to go wrong for them, and they face reality. As time passed, they believed they could continue as if nothing had occurred, but without the support you gave and the steady comfort of without your presence, their world begins to unravel. You weren't just someone who showed up. You were their rock and steady. Without realizing it, they relied on a foundation, but that base is no longer present. Their hands appear to be holding water, but no matter how hard they squeeze, they cannot. When they squeeze, it slips away. At this point, they may feel as though they are grasping onto something. It's all coming apart under the surface, but they're still together. They used to fill the gap, but now they feel empty and pointless. They're beginning to realize that the world they created without you isn't as stable as they initially believed. They sometimes feel an even greater void in their friendships. People may start to feel empty or like their everyday tasks have lost meaning. They might experience agitation and a sense of absence. They are losing focus because they don't feel as stable in their lives as they did before you grounded them. They never valued it, and now they find themselves adrift on the water, desperately searching for their way home. The ground is without that base. That's when they start to feel the full weight of the decisions they've made. Their world is falling apart as they confront their mess. Piece by piece, they begin to feel empty, and no distraction is powerful enough to ward it off. If you were missing something, it would be the quietness. They need to adjust to the loss of the security they once enjoyed. Their situation makes it easy to feel sorry for them and intervene. Return and assist them once more, keeping in mind that this is their journey. They should go through the process of coming to this understanding without your intervention. To keep them safe, this is the only way they'll fully understand what their better understanding of this would only erase what they lost by intervening now. Say to yourself, I am the stability they lost, but my strength is mine. This means that whenever you want to help them feel better, they must embark on this journey independently to witness the outcomes of their actions without any assistance. You used to be a safety net for me. Now it's time for you to grow up and stand tall, to get stronger than ever. We are approaching the core of this journey. Even more of the truth is about to come out. There is still more to come. You still feel the weight of your loss as their world crumbles. But hold on. This isn't over yet. Even though it's over, they still don't fully understand the effects of what they lost. Stay tuned, as they will soon be unable to ignore what's waiting for them. As they battle in silence, the final details will surface, revealing their genuine emotions to the surface in ways they can't hide. Let's keep going. Let's bring. As the trip draws to a close, the silence becomes an unavoidable force. It's like a void that it's becoming clear they've been hiding it to avoid it. It took their minds off of things, but now those walls are falling apart, and there, they find themselves in a seemingly empty, soundless space. They can't picture being there by themselves with just the sound of the noise intensifies due to your absence and your attempts to establish connections. Make the people they used as stand-ins and the shows they put on look good, but none of that can compare to emptiness they feel now. They can't get away from the pain and the knowledge that they lost something valuable and irreplaceable when they had it. It's not the loud, dramatic kind of pain in this void. It's a quiet, never-ending kind. The ache intensifies over time, serving as a daily reminder of their past actions. Lost. At first they thought they could just get through it and it would go away, but each day apart from you brings them closer to the inevitable. They're struggling without you. Being there used to make them feel that no matter where they went, the empty spaces remind them of what they threw away. Picture them wide awake at night. Gazing at the ceiling without any text on their phone doesn't alleviate their mood. As a sign of how much you care, it's in these still moments where they experience it most, when they are alone and not distracted. When the pain of missing you intensifies, they may attempt to conceal it, do something else. But this silence is following them around all the time. It might inspire you to reach out and inquire whether they can recall what they let slip through their fingers. They're fine to make them feel a little better, but keep in mind that this silence it's not your journey. They need to fully feel this gap to understand that you cannot intervene to rescue them from the consequences of their choices. Staying silent would only alleviate the burden. They need to learn whether they truly care about you and value you. Deep feelings they tried to bury will come to the surface in this silence. They can't ignore it any longer. If there was true love there, this void would push them. If they confront it, they'll realize they've lost something they can't find in anyone else. But if they don't care, those who can stand this quiet will be able to move on. That clarity and understanding is a gift to you. They never cared as much as you did, and freedom will give you the courage to move forward. Remember that my quiet shows how strong and valuable I am. Say it out loud. Every time you want to reach out and fill that hole for them, your silence. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a strong choice to put yourself first and let them deal with their problems. We're nearing the conclusion of the break. At some point, after all the faces and distractions he tries to fill the void, they've reached a point where they can't hide the truth any longer. They have to make a choice, face what they can, be honest and grow, or they can stay in denial and let it happen. Some people carry guilt for a lifetime, and when the pain becomes unbearable, they succumb. They begin to realize that the loss of something they now recognize as irreplaceable causes them to feel guilty. The sorrow, loss, and pain won't go away. They'll always be there. Every time they attempt to move on, they are constantly reminded of what they let go of. It brings them back to the same thought. They have lost something real. Some people may choose a different road, but they'll never find each other again. Finally understand that your absence was a wake-up call and a moment of clarity for them, with the knowledge that they might just have a chance to face what I am struggling to understand what went wrong and improve myself. They've reached a critical juncture where they can choose to embrace sorrow or resist it. Marcus Aurelius said, "Either get rid of them or use it as a chance to grow." For this reason, ring true. The obstacle that prevents you from acting prompts you to take action. What's preventing you? Your silence acted as a barrier, awakening them to their surroundings. They must decide whether to change or stay the same. If they break through, if they break down, it's because they don't want to learn from their mistakes. They must confront the reality of their actions, which is a significant aspect of the final stage. If they opt for that path, it doesn't bind you. You've done your part by stepping back and letting them face it. Their own life, their journey, and their growth, or lack of it, is no longer your business. You've given them the freedom to face their problems and grow, to stay the same, but you've changed, you've gained strength, and you've come back to your sense of worth. You have achieved independence, so take a deep breath and say I for the final time. I'm free now, and you're starting a new phase where your worth doesn't matter. Depending on someone else's approval, your strength isn't based on anyone else's approval. You've come out of this journey will provide you with clarity, self-assurance, and a new sense of what you're worth. Regardless of whether they realize what they've lost or not, you've gained something far more valuable. Peace of mind, strength, freedom, and as you go on, you can make your life reflect the value you've always known you have. It wasn't easy, but look at where you are now. You're stronger. Now that we've finished, pause to feel more intelligent and prepared for a future that will value your personal development. Take some time to reflect on this in a quiet and peaceful environment. Your journey has taught you what you've set limits that show how much you're worth and what you're truly capable of. If they wake up to what they've lost, you've won something priceless. Thanks for coming along with me. Remember to spread this word if it resonated with you during your journey. Tell people how powerful self-worth and strength are, and before you leave, let us know. Are you ready for a new chapter of independence? Tell us in the comments. If you're open to new connections that really show how valuable you are, let us know. Keep in mind how far you've come, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. The freedom and happiness you deserve are right here. You can now claim it.